everyone, IntuitiveEdge here. Welcome once again to my channel. Thanks for joining me. So it's time to take a look at the month ahead, and we're going to look at December. What's coming up for this coming month? Well, as I tune into this month, I'll give you what messages I receive, and then we'll look at the cards. The first thing I get when I'm tuning into December is I'm feeling a lot of yelling. And then I hear the word parliament, and I hear people's voices, people getting loud. It could be members of parliament. Maybe there's a big argument on the floor of parliament. I don't know. I'm saying parliament. It could be in the UK. This could be happening. It could be metaphorically for the United States Congress. But there's something about a lot of yelling and someone trying to take the floor, and there's some sort of pushback, and there's a lot of anger and voices being raised and people kind of getting loud and almost hysterical. And it has something to do with procedure or not following proper procedure, or somebody trying to use a form of procedure to shut someone else down. It's kind of that kind of thing. And then I'm focusing in and I'm feeling like there's someone coming out and trying to get public sentiment going. They're talking to people out in crowds, telling them what's happened and trying to stir up the same type of animosity or anger or frustration and getting the public involved. It's like somebody was shut out of discourse, and maybe they're saying this is against policy, this is against procedure, this isn't right. And then I'm seeing something like secret police, or kind of like Capitol Police type of upper echelon police, and they're trying to move someone to safety, or somehow the police become involved. There could be public discord around this, that stirring up the public could actually work, and there could be people getting involved and trying to hold people accountable in their respective governments. With that police presence, I'm getting tunnels underground. A lot of these places, Washington, D.C., and I'm sure in the UK, there are underground passages for members of parliament or Congress that they can move between buildings for safety's sake. And I'm seeing police presence. I'm seeing the hat, the uniform. I'm wondering if it's military police, some type of, it could be military or like a higher level police, and they are leading people through tunnels and leading, maybe it's a group. I'm sensing a bit of violence in the streets or protests happening. Then I'm seeing in my mind's eye, there's whoever these people are that are ushered to safety, boarding a helicopter, and the helicopter lifting off, and you can see protests from bird's eye view down on the streets and people out in the streets. This feels like we're back in the United States. Possibly. I see New York City type of look, with buildings, sky rises, and the helicopter going up and then flying south toward Washington, D.C. And then I hear, who's calling the shots? Who's calling the shots? I'm going to move on to what we might be seeing in the news and what's coming up for December with the cards. I'll look into that and I'll be right back. Every now and again, I come across, when I'm doing a video, and I focus in on what spread I want to do, and it basically boils down to what questions am I wanting to focus on, or what direction am I wanting to go. And so before I even lay out any of the cards, I'm working on my spread, and I keep getting a Superman reference, like the movie from way back when. And so this might sound a little bizarre or corny or whatever. That's okay. I just keep getting the reference to Superman. So I'm seeing like who's the hero, what is the kryptonite that is exposing or challenging some of the negative influences. What's the weak point? What do we need to know? And it's kind of like what's underground, what's beneath the surface going on. So we'll be looking at all of that. But for some reason, Superman reference is coming in. So not sure why, but maybe it'll make sense in a bit here. This is going to be an interesting December. I'm not sure what to make of this. So we'll just plod through and see what we get together, okay? Beneath the surface, I have the Hermit card. A card of introspection, looking within, card of dealing with internal affairs, not so much external. And it's shining the light in dark places. So that could be playing into what's happening underneath things. There could be light being exposed into dark places. Now, what is the game changer? This is the triumphal entry card, the Six of Wands, the card of recognition, the card of reward, someone coming into the scene, into the spotlight, and that's on the heels of shining this light into dark places. There's something coming out of it, coming out of that. And looking ahead, which is the future card, we have the World. And this is a card of success. So something very interesting with these energies. These are very favorable and positive. So there is something coming through. There could be something on more than one level, more than one nation, more than one country. And it's looking back at the triumphal entry card. So there's someone possibly coming onto the scene in a big way that's going to have the world's attention. This could get really interesting this month. All right. What is fading away? Well, this is a really negative card. When you look at it, it's someone who is bound and they're surrounded by these bars, these swords that are like prison bars. And that is fading into the past. That sense of feeling stuck or unable to move forward or restricted. That's a nice card to have fading away. That means that this triumphal entry and the World coming onto the stage, looking ahead, is going to be mitigating some negative influences somehow. Who is the hero in all of this? Okay, again, back to that, the silly Superman reference kept coming to me. But we have the Ace of Cups. This is, whoever this represents has good intentions at heart, good presence, and someone who has a lot of love in their heart. This is the card of love, and it's new beginnings, and it's entering into new relationships. So there could be some interesting notion with a new beginning with someone who has a good heart. Okay, interesting. Next, what is the kryptonite that will weaken or expose the negative influence? What is it? Well, this is interesting. The Knight of Pentacles. This is an interesting card. It's a messenger. All my knights are messengers. They tell us there's something more to something coming. And this particular knight has a lot of energy, but it's kind of stuck. It wants to move forward, the energy of this card, and yet things take time. Things don't just happen quickly. It's more of a methodical type of energy of moving forward. And so with that being the kryptonite, so to speak, that being what will weaken or expose the negative influence, it's like that something is not able to move quick enough. It doesn't have the inertia to really get the support it needs or get the groundswell that it needs to get going. It's kind of slow, and that could be its downfall. It's not quick enough to get going. Okay, so who is Clark Kent? Oh my God. I just kept getting these references. So who is the person? There's someone perhaps in the background, like in the movie Superman. Clark Kent was your everyday guy. Nobody knew that he was the actual superhero. He looked like your average Joe. And so I got the Fool card on that. The Fool card. This is a card of new beginnings, being carefree, being kind of just, you jump out there, jump into something new. It's being willing to try new things. It's a card of risk. It can be a card of caution. These two cards are facing each other in this reading. Well, I have to put them this way. So they're facing each other. This inertia of the kind of the dark energy having issues or problems, and then the Fool card looking right back into it. So there's something new coming out of this dark energy. Okay, I need to go backward just a little bit. The kryptonite in the movie Superman was what held back Superman from doing what he needed to do. And this inertia or stuck energy could be what's hampering the good. It's a negative influence, but I think it's what's holding things back. The inertia of unable to break through barriers and get a message out, get the good energy going, make things change in a positive way. It's like the engine is running, but something is off and it's just not able to move very well. I got to show you this card again. So you see this Knight of Pentacles, and kind of in the background there looks like a river that's red, and it's kind of cresting up on one side like a wave, like a red wave. And there's all this energy, wants to move forward, but it can't. It's like that's the kryptonite. And remember in the movie, kryptonite came in and Superman just lost all of his strength. He couldn't do what he needed to do. It was like this oppressive thing that came over him. And that's what feels like is happening. And the fact that this horse is black, indicating a challenge or an obstacle or darkness or having to work through something, there's energy to work through whatever this is that's holding back this wave from cresting, from doing what it needs to do. And perhaps the way through that is a completely new approach. Maybe trying something that nobody's tried before, nobody's done before, to get through this stuck energy flow. This card just breaks free and says, I'm going for it. I don't care what happens. We'll just see what happens. We'll let the dust settle and I'll figure it out when I get there. That's the energy of the Fool, stepping in. And I think there's something coming in to change the stuck energy that wants to move forward. The next question is, what do we need to know most? And I've got the Six of Pentacles. This is a card of give and take, giving back. It's reciprocal. And I'm sensing there could be something with an exchange. You know, it's interesting with this card, those scales, those balancing scales. Balancing scales are also found on the Justice card in tarot. And there could be some element of justice or bringing back fairness in dealings with moving stuck energy forward. It's going to be important somehow in December. Probably the most important card is the outcome card for December. And this one kind of surprised me a little bit. But we have the Sun card. This has to be, or it is actually, the most positive card in the deck. It's a major arcana. The Sun always clears things up, brings things to light, And it adds an extra blessing. It adds protection, beneficence, and it's an overall positive card. And there's really not a lot negative in this spread. We have the Hermit and that Six of Wands, that somebody new coming on the scene that's going to grab world attention possibly, and working through stuck energies, doing something a brand new way that's going to either bring a bit of justice or change a little bit of how the dynamic flows. Maybe something's been going one way for a long time and it's about to swing back or change. It's going to take a new line of thinking. And I'm thinking that Clark Kent analogy could play very important. There could be someone or a group or an idea that looks very ordinary, and yet it's the key to releasing things that have been stuck, things that have been wrong, bringing things back into balance by shifting that energy with that Six. But the overall outcome being the Sun is really, really strong. We're going to look a little more specific. So what is going to be in the news? Well, I've got the Three of Wands. So there could be an opportunity that is coming up that we may be seeing happening. Maybe it's that new thing that I was seeing with that other spread, with the Fool card jumping into something new. So we may see a new approach, a new idea. Yeah, we'll see what comes of that in the news in December. Okay. Political. What's happening on the political front? Well, we've got this card. This is the Six of Swords. And this is a card of kind of a sad event or moving on, a change, having to move in a new direction, and usually has a little bit of a sad energy with it. So whether maybe somebody is letting go of their position and moving on politically, we may see some change. Okay. All right. Society's mood or mental state. Well, this is okay. This is really positive. And again, getting all those positive cards on the last spread has me really kind of puzzled. But we have the Two of Cups, a card of partnership, friendship, things going well. What are we letting go of? Queen of Pentacles. That's kind of an interesting energy because she's focused on materialism, wealth, being connected to the earth and the earth energy. And there may be some letting go of that. Maybe not being as materially minded or materially focused. Sometimes there's a time for that. Perhaps this card with society's mental state being about connection with people and each other, maybe that will take a little more precedence than the material side of things. It's the emotional connection side of things that may be a little bit more important this month. What's coming into view? Well, this is so interesting. This is a card of conflict. However, it's like with this card, the battle is wrapping up and there's something coming to an end, and it's related to that queen somehow. I think there's going to be a societal shift this month. The final outcome card is this card. A card of materialism, again, wealth, the mothering instinct, care and concern, and it's sitting right below this card. There's something that could cause people to come back to their roots, emotionally connected with their fellow man, and that's actually very nice. People could be celebratory or joyful in some way, connecting again with people on a deeper level. It's not just about he who has the most toys wins. It's about connection, relationships, people. And somehow that's going to play big. And there could be cause for people to be joyful again and celebrate. There could be some uncertainties as well. We do have the Hanged Man underneath this whole thing. The Hanged Man card. Sometimes that can indicate things still not quite settled, a little up in the air. And there could be some of those feelings this month. Okay, I wanted to clarify one more time because the energies coming through for December are kind of surprising me. Usually in my month ahead videos, I get the challenges that we're going to face. I get something specific that's going to feel like an obstacle or a block. And there's something different about December. So we'll just go through the cards one more time. I got a new spread here. This is the Hanged Man. This is on the political. I got a card and a crossing card. The Hanged Man, a card of being in limbo, self-sacrifice, giving something up in order to gain something better, self-sacrifice. And what is this card crossing it? The card of celebration. What in the world is that on the political? Something that's going to be turned on its head, as you can see the Hanged Man, turned on its head, cause for rejoicing. Okay. Political, next is socioeconomic. So people, what's going to be going on with the people? And I got that triumphal entry card again. So there is someone or something related to a group or people, something new coming in, and it's crossed by... This is going to be a little unusual. It's unusual. It may not be anything we've seen before. A new person coming in on the scene. Society's going to be looking at this, and there's something very strange or unusual about it. All right. Environmental, earth. What do we got here? Well, I've got, again, this 3 of Wands. A card of adventure, opportunity, seeing an opportunity. And then a very stabilizing, loving energy with it. So nothing really to worry about that I'm seeing here. Something definitely is on the horizon that's going to maybe be different or shocking or strange, but nothing terribly negative. The past, there's been struggle that's led up to this month. On the future, and we've got this card, a card of clearing out the clutter. Clearing up the clutter, being able to see clearly for maybe the first time in a long time. Clarity, that's coming up. And the final outcome is this card. Now, we had the Sun on one of the last readings. This is a very positive card. Card of innocence, nostalgia, reflecting back on the past. The past is coming back around in December, and perhaps it's going to put us in a new way. Maybe we have to revisit something in the past in order to move forward. That could be that stuck energy that I was sensing with the first reading. That something got stuck and it's unable to kick itself into gear and move out of that until we revisit the past and clear the past. Only then can we move forward. Maybe December is all about clearing up the past. It is the last month of this year. Maybe this is a time to throw out the old and get ready for a new year and get ready for a new season. And we have to face the past somehow. This is telling us we're going to face the past to get us out of that stuck and move us forward. So that's what I have for this month. Hope you're able to hang with me with all of that. Thanks for joining me once again. This has been Intuitive Edge. Have a happy December, and we'll see you next time. I think I understand now the reference to Superman. As we look at the top left corner, we have what's kind of underneath this, and it's a sad card. But right next to it is the Game Changer card. the Ten of Cups, heading right into the Empress. These are extremely positive cards in looking ahead. What's fading away is that Queen of Swords. She's done her work. She got to the bottom of something. Now the middle card, who is the hero? That is the Eight of Pentacles. To me, that represents someone who's working on something, someone who put their mind to something and accomplished a lot. The hero for December is probably going to be someone who's unassuming, but they're put into the national spotlight. We have the Four of Cups at the bottom corner on the left, and that is on the card of who is Clark Kent. It's someone who probably is very unassuming, as I mentioned. And what do we need to know most? That's the card next to it, that triumphal entry card. That there is some big thing coming out in December, and somebody is going to be a hero.